Sam Darnold is a $100 million man. Not sure we'd be thinking we'd say that a couple years ago, but that's exactly what he is right now after signing with the Seahawks on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract to replace Geno Smith, who they traded away to the Las Vegas Raiders. And Dalton, there are some Seahawks fans right now that don't really want to go through a rebuild, but you think that this partnership with Sam Darnold and Klint Kubiak, the new offensive coordinator, who was Sam Darnold's passing game coordinator with the 49ers back in 2023, you think it's going to work in Seattle?
Yeah, that familiarity is really a big tool for Darnold, both with his comfort and his ability to run this offense, right? And we've seen, obviously, they're trying to build the rest of the offense, too. They just recently signed Cooper Kupp. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Marquez Valdez-Scantling comes over from the Saints with Klint Kubiak, right? They've got two good running backs. So I don't think the cupboard is as bare as people think in Seattle, and that's what we're going to talk about here is Sam Darnold and the match with Klint Kubiak, right? And it's a very similar system. Both guys from the Shanahan tree, that outside zone kind of scheme, right? And I think Kubiak does some things in his offense that are going to make Darnold comfortable that made him so successful in Minnesota last year.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what they do in at Minnesota and now going over to Seattle and why Sam Darnold was so good last year with the Vikings and why you think he can be still a very good quarterback with Seattle. So what are the similarities in the Kubiak system that he saw a lot last year with Minnesota?
So they talk about it being a quarterback-friendly offense, right? And what does that mean? Obviously, you know, those are the most basic things. Okay, can you run the football? Can you get guys open? Can you scheme guys open? And the way that these two coaches do it, all right, O'Connell and Kubiak, is one, run game. The same thing. Shanahan tree, we've talked about this before. Outside zone, trying to get outside and then create those cutback lanes. You want athletic offensive linemen. Probably later on we're going to talk about Seattle's offensive line and figure out, okay, what can they do? That's a draft question as well. They got to figure out the interior. Two, heavy on play action. Now, down here I'm going to put similarities between Sam Darnold and Derek Carr this year because when Carr was injured, the Saints offense really didn't function the way they wanted it to with Spencer Rattler, Jake Anderson. So let's talk about Derek Carr and Sam Darnold and the similarities with their two coordinators, O'Connell and Kubiak. Play action rate, Sam Darnold, 28%, 11th among qualified quarterbacks. Derek Carr, almost identical, 28.7%, 9th among all quarterbacks. So you're getting heavy play action from under center, quarterback turning his back to the line of scrimmage, getting those second-level defenders, those linebackers and safeties to cheat up, right? Anytime you can create windows for the quarterback as a play caller, that's big. That's why we have the heavy play action rates. And down here, taking advantage of those guys stepping up. Deep passing rate. Sam Darnold, 12.8%, 14th in the NFL. Derek Carr, 14%, even higher, 6th in the NFL with Kubiak. So when the Saints offense was rolling, which I know because of injuries and a lack of pass protection wasn't that often, but when it was, say early in the season when they were healthy, it's because they were getting into play action looks and they were taking deep shots down the field. So that's what we're going to look at, a couple of things. We're actually going to look at Kubiak first here with the Saints. Now, you're going to notice a handful of things as I go through this, all right? You're going to see we've got two tight ends, in this case, a tight end and a fullback, right, on the field with one back, 12 personnel. Can be a heavy personnel usage here for both of these teams, for the Vikings and the Saints. And now what will become for Seattle if they can find, I think, a second tight end. But you have Noah Fant. You have A.J. Barner, who's a very good blocker, very familiar with the 12 personnel looks from Michigan, right? We know that. So the idea is, again, outside zone, play action, and deep shots down the field, right? You're going to get a little bit of all three. We're going to get kind of a short play action fake out here, and Carr's going to roll back and straight drop back in the pocket. Now, a lot of times, people think about the outside zone tree and the Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan stuff, and they think about bootleg, but if you don't have a quarterback that's that mobile, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold's got decent mobility, but not great, we can still drop back straight back in the pocket. That's fine. I have no issue with that. What you're going to get on the outside, even though we're attacking, and there's a two-safety look back here, you're going to get Rashid Shaheed working deep to the post, deep down the middle of the field, right? And we're going to get Chris Olave up here working across. And that's all it's going to be. No other routes, okay? So I'm going to go to the next slide because we're going to talk about the coverage and high-low and safeties and things like that. We're going to go to the next one, though. And what I want you to notice, first things first, the talk in Seattle now, after signing Cooper Kupp, they have Smith and Jigba, is about how in the hell do we pass protect, right? Because our interior offensive line probably cost us a playoff spot last year. We couldn't pass protect. It was a mess. Well, one way to do it, like I mentioned, Rashid Shaheed, going down the middle of the field, Chris Olave. You see any other routes out here right now?
Nope.
None. Max protection. Okay, Minnesota even struggled. Interior offensive line protection. The Saints were dead last in the league in pass blocking. But if you want to help them out, look what we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even down here, the back actually chipped the edge before he's starting to creep out into the flat here, right? Max protection, okay? If you don't have the guys who can protect 5-on-5, the play action helps us because the defense is going to be indecisive, and you've got more bodies, right? So now we've got a reasonably clean pocket. We're starting to lose the battle out here a little bit, but we've got a clean enough pocket for Carr to step up into and work with. Now, let's talk about the route downfield, all right? Very, very common in this system. Very fun concept to run, especially with play action. A post and a cross. So essentially what we're trying to do, anytime you see this post and cross combination, it's called a high-low read, okay? And this is a deeper one downfield. This guy right here, you've got a decision to make. You want to stay back deep on the post, or you want to come up and jump the cross and give us a shot over the top, right? Now, even if he decides to stay back, and you can see his posture is a little bit, his feet are a little tied up here, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're Derek Carr here, there's a phrase, and this is Rashid Shaheed, he's an absolute blazer. There's a phrase as a receiver, okay? And especially in looks like this with free safeties. If he's even, he's leaving, all right? I don't know if you've heard that before or not, but that's something they tell receivers and quarterbacks. If he's even, he's leaving. Shakir's done a nice job getting inside. He's going to get up here. He's going to get even with this free safety. Now, the easy throw, if the safety's going to sit back, obviously, is Olave down here on the cross. But maybe we want to hit a home run, right? We're trying to make explosive plays happen, big plays happen, right? So Derek Carr is going to anticipate this. He's going to throw this football right about when Rashid Shaheed gets even, with the idea of leading him over the top, and we've got guys with speed on the back end, and I'll just burn the safety anyway if he hesitates in any way at all. And you can already see his feet are tied up as far as where to go, right? Go to the next slide here. What's the result? I've got to step. Again, if he's even, he's leaving, especially a blazer like this. Perfect 55-yard throw. He's gone. We're by the free safety. The corner's in the dust. He can't keep up with Shaheed with a clean release, right? So you're talking about, oftentimes the deep ball, people think about, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, the big cannon-armed guys, right? Derek Carr's got a good arm, but maybe not an A-plus arm. Sam Darnold, same thing. He's got a good arm, not a Josh Allen arm, but to be able to anticipate that Shaheed is going to get to this spot for Carr is something where you go, okay, now we have a chance to take deep shots, play action, and accomplish everything that we wanted to for the Saints, right? Let's take it over now. Kevin O'Connell, okay? Similar concept, right? Darnold's got some pretty darn good guys on the outside here when you include Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I think Jalen Naylor's in on this play. He's an emerging player for them. Same concept. We're going to set this up. Play action, this way. Short play action, help me off the edge. Straight drop in the pocket, in his own end zone. We're talking about a similar home run concept that I'm about to draw up from our own 3-yard line. Going, okay, we're still going to get aggressive. You want to give us all these guys? Look at all these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in the box.
Well, I think they're going to run it here.
They sure do. Trying to get our backs off the 3-yard line. I believe this is 2nd and 9. Absolutely. Is O'Connell afraid? No. Is he afraid of the pass protection? No. We'll get there in a minute. Same concept. Here we go. Here's Justin Jefferson. He's going to get in. They're on the same side of the formation, but same idea holds. Deep to the post. All right? Jalen Naylor. Kind of follow him in here on the stack release. Get across. Now you have this same dynamic. This safety's already cheating. So we know, look, we're going to have options here, right? We're single high. That's the guy we're looking at, this free safety. High-low. High is to the post to Jefferson. Low is down here to the cross. And you can see all that grass in there, right? Now, let's go to the next one because I want to start in the backfield first. If you're not protected, it doesn't matter. Interior offensive line was an issue in Minnesota. It's why they've signed Ryan Kelly. It's why they signed Will Fries. They're trying to get that right. But here, clean pocket. Again, why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guys in protection, 2 guys in the route. Max protection. If you're struggling on the offensive line, well, help them out. Put more numbers up there, especially when you have this many guys in the box. You can see this developing already. Look at this. Naylor's got a boatload of space out here. Jefferson's setting this up. We're in man-to-man coverage. And he's thinking about getting out here deep to the post. And the fun part of this is actually for Darnold and the way that you can load up in a clean pocket. This is why pass protection is so important. Look at all the space. Look at it. We're good. We're good. He's so good here that he can take a chance. So the funny part, I just mentioned with Carr before, the cross would have been the easy throw. But if we're even, we're leaving, right? And I know Jefferson's not here yet, but we're going to get here. Don't you worry. And look at the safety already trying to cheat over laterally, and he's kind of in between, right? Yep. Jefferson's going to get to about right here. And you know what Sam Darnold's going to do, even though he's got all this space here? Take him over the top. All of a sudden, you have the same shot we had with Rashid Shaheed. This should look very familiar to Klint Kubiak. Jefferson, again, corners toast. Got to step on the safety. Perfect 55-yard throw. And on a play where we had our back against the wall in our own end zone, but 97-yard touchdown. Oof. Because we've accomplished the most basic goals, the foundational goals of this offense. Outside zone, at least the threat of it, play action, and then deep shots down the field that isolate safeties and everybody in that second level that's out of the picture. And again, Naylor was wide open. Look at him. He could have been off running too. So the concepts are always great when I get multiple guys open. That's fantastic. But that'll be a big question, is whether they have somebody in Seattle or they can find somebody that they trust as much as, well, a Justin Jefferson. That number 18 in Minnesota is pretty good. But what it speaks to is the similarities of what Darnold can get comfortable with, right? I just showed you the same concept twice. Formation, a little bit different, but max protection, play action, post cross. These are the types of things that Kubiak can put in to keep Darnold comfortable while they're still building the rest of the personnel in the offense.
Absolutely. So obviously there's a lot of question marks with still how they're going to build this offense around Sam Darnold. Right? The interior offensive line still lacking talent. I know it's signed Cooper Kupp, but also Jackson Smith-Njigba was a slot receiver. Cooper Kupp's a slot receiver as well. What would you do in receiving core first off? Who would play on the outside for you? And then also, what kind of guards in a heavy outside zone scheme? I don't really think Tyler Booker is too much of a target for Seattle, maybe at number 18 overall. Are there any guards maybe on day 2, like Gray Zabel or something like that in the draft that you think could really fit in this offense?
I think the first thing, to your first question about the personnel and where to play, just because we think, okay, yes, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he ran, I think it was 83% of his routes from the slot last year. I get it. Cool, but it's not like we didn't see him play on the outside at Ohio State. Or it's not like either of these guys are incapable. Anything's possible with motion. And I think this look actually could free up both of them. When you talk about a stacked look, a tight look on the inside here closer to the hash, with both of them so close together, you can find ways to get them open, right? It's not just about this guy's a slot and this guy is this. There are two players, Cooper Kupp with all his experience and Smith-Njigba with all the talent. They're going to be able to move around the formation, right? All you have to do is create ways for them to get open. Now, your second question, this is a system where you're trying to find certain offensive linemen, right? You mentioned Tyler Booker may not be the best scheme fit. I think about, you mentioned Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. You mentioned, they still have a guy like Christian Haynes in-house from UConn who ran a very similar system at UConn. I think about, if you're looking at a day 2 option, they're picking, they're picking in the 50s and in the 90s, right? 82, 92, 52. They're picking all over in the draft on day 2. I think about maybe a Luke Kandra from right here in Cincinnati who, again, ran a similar system. But the idea is, for them on their interior offensive line, they're going to want to find athletes, okay? When you're talking about interior offensive linemen, especially in this outside zone scheme, you want athletes. You want guys who can create angles. We've talked about this with even Drew Dahlman with the Chicago Bears, right? If you're athletic and you're agile and you can create those lanes, it opens up the run game, and then it opens up, again, these home run plays right here that we're seeing that are created just off of that. Straight drop play action, deep shots down the field. This is how you become a two-dimensional offense, and I think the fact that Darnold is familiar with Kubiak and with concepts like this makes his transition. I think you're going to see other guys with tougher transitions into this offense than you're going to see Darnold, because he's familiar with Kubiak from San Fran and he's familiar with at least parts of the system from Minnesota, and he was so good in it this year.
So in a vacuum, most people might think that, hey, that Seattle might have downgraded going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, but Dawn just showed schematically it makes sense. And also, Dawn, maybe the craziest stat about Sam Darnold overall, he's only 27 years old. He seems like a seasoned veteran after playing for obviously the Jets, then Carolina, then San Fran, now Seattle. Still only 27. Geno Smith is a little older at 34 years old as well.
It feels like kind of a theme with that 2018 draft class, right? Baker Mayfield kind of fell off a bit, came back with Tampa. Josh Allen, first 2 years, it was a struggle, and then he exploded. Lamar Jackson even, it was questions when he was drafted, and even his rookie season, can he do this? And we're seeing that's becoming a really, really nice quarterback class, obviously, because these guys have developed over time, and Darnold just took a little bit longer than the rest of them.
We're still waiting on the Josh Rosen breakout. That might be still be coming down the line
We'll
soon.
get there. We got time.
I know he's in business school right now. Maybe he makes a little bit of an NFL comeback as well. But Sam Darnold, the new scheme fit in Klint Kubiak's system in Seattle. It's not over for Seahawks fans just yet. It might not be a full rebuild because Sam Darnold, after having a great year last year, is pretty much a perfect fit in Klint Kubiak's offense.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.